What is up, everybody? How's it going? Good to see you here on this fine morning. Good evening for the, let's see, Europe. That's not quite evening in Europe yet, but I know one guy said it was UTC -1. So good evening to you guys abroad. Good morning to the folks here in the United States or the Western Hemisphere. Shout out to my mods in chat. Dougal, Slam Cannons here. Carl Childers in the house. Good to see you guys all here today. I think I saw Dimitri pop in there early. Yes, he did. Dimitri also up here in the house. NASA 6, how's it going, my friend? NASA 6, a residential EASA student pilot trainee. We'll be featuring him on the next V1 After Dark podcast. Do a little interview with him on how flight training is in Europe for those guys that are interested over there. But man, I got a good little treat for you today. We're going to be doing part 1 of the A320 Checkride prep. Now, you guys have been following my channel, you know that so for basically every 6 months, okay, well, there's a couple ways to do it. You can have like the old-fashioned recurrent training, and then you have AQP, Advanced Qualification Program. Depending on what airline you work for, it can be a little bit different, but essentially it boils down to twice a year, and especially once a year, you have to go in for a recurrent check ride, essentially. And it's basically putting your livelihood and career on the line. Make sure you can still do everything right. Make sure you know all the limitations of the aircraft. You go through an oral exam again, just like when you got trained on the aircraft the first time. You have to know all your limitations. You have to know all your memory items and things like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to break this up into 3 parts. Today is going to be relatively I'm not going to say easy, but it's a little bit lighter on the workload. We're going to do basically some normal stuff. So we're going to take off. We're going to do low visibility departure. That's why you could tell here we're in Seattle. The visibility is sub 500 RVR. We're going to do some low visibility taxi procedures. We're going to take off. I'll clear up the weather a little bit. We're going to be over beautiful Orbix, Washington. And we're going to do some steep turn maneuvers, and I'm going to be kind of just training it. Like I might do a couple to the left, a couple to the right, show you guys, walk you through it, and then we're going to do some stall maneuvers, put the aircraft into an alternate law, a direct law, and then we're going to clean it all up, come back, and we're going to shoot some approaches to missed approach. So we're going to do a localizer approach to a missed, an RNAV approach to a bounced landing, missed approach, and then a Cat 3 auto land to an emergency evacuation on the runway. So that's the plan. And then Friday, we're going to do some emergency stuff, like single engine stuff. Hopefully, I can get that working. I'm having issues with it right now. I may have to use the toll list for that, but we're going to tentatively do single engine and some more hardcore emergencies on Friday. And then Saturday morning is going to be the mock check ride. So basically, it's going to be combining everything together, and I'm going to do what I'm going to do in the check ride just to make sure everything looks pretty kosher before I go back to work. So that stream on Saturday will be a members only live chat as well. So if you were looking at the schedule for Saturday, it said members only live chat. It is only members only live chat. If you're not a member of the channel, you'll still be able to watch it. You just won't be able to chat to me. And I just wanted to reduce distractions and stuff because it's kind of a big deal, you know. Just want to make sure everything looks right and want to try to do my best that I can for you guys. So let's get this show on the road here. We're in the, like I said, A320, beautiful V1 simulations livery here. Let's go ahead and hop in the airplane. I basically just have it sitting on ground power, and I'm going to come in here and just do my flow. I just wanted to line the ADIRs so we didn't have to wait for that. But I'm going to go ahead and start right here on the left-hand side. Actually, before I do that, let's turn the dome light on. And I'm going to go cruise supply on, ground control push button should come on, fault light here because we don't have a position for the enhanced function of the EgyptWiz. We have our gas. We'll go ahead and get our pumps on. Oops. I totally messed up. I should have done batteries first. 25.5 volts or less, we have to do a charge. If we're above 25.5, we can just go ahead and turn them on, which they are. So batteries are on. Then I should have done the fuel pumps. So I already messed up once there. And then we do our fire test. We got our fire lights, 1, 2, 3, 4. Our ECAM, and then the fire light down there in the throttle quadrant. Same for the right side. I'm not going to move the camera. We know it works. And for the APU, perfect. We're going to come right down here to the condition panel. We're pack flow norm. Everything looks good here. Lights are out, and let's go ahead and move down to the external lighting. Nav 1, captain's going to be flying this leg. Everything else is off for now. Let's go ahead and get the APU fired up. Tony Doc Station in the house. He says, V1 Sim, I can't stay for long as we're getting ready to take the kids out, but we'll catch up with the stream later. Tony Doc's not a problem, my friend. Just glad to see you here, dropping into the channel. Those epaulets look good on you. So I will definitely or yeah, definitely come back, check out the stream later, and you'll catch up, so you'll be up to speed for part 2. But no worries, man. Have fun. I'm actually going to run some errands after this stream as well, so I'm a little bit on time constraints. I'm hoping we're going to get all 3 approaches done, but I do have to run to Costco and do some Thanksgiving preparations for our family as well. So I totally understand, my friend. We're going to go ahead and get that APU cranked up. We'll clear that TCAS fault out of there. That's normal. And let me close my blinds real quick, guys. Hold on. I'm getting a little too bright in here. It's hard for me to see my screen. All right. Dougal. He says, how's it going, Dougal? Where's my notepad? Yeah, man. I know. This is be a notepad-worthy stream, hopefully. All right. APU is avail. I'm going to go ahead and turn the bleed on. We'll disconnect the external power right now. And I should have also turned seatbelts on, auto, arm, that. Coming back down here, let's go ahead and check our... my frames are kind of crap in here right now. Hold on, let me... Streamlabs did its thing again, or updated right before the stream. Alright, so now hopefully that will increase my FPS a little bit. My GPU is maxing out right now. I don't know why. Well, I mean, I do know why. It's flight factor and low vis and all that stuff. So, alright, here we go. Let's check our lower ECAM page here. We're going to look at the engine page, looking at our oil. Everything looks good. We need 11 quarts minimum for this CEO version. That looks good. Then we're going to check our hydraulics. We are in the green across the board. Door oxygen page is green. And then what we do here is we press the recall and hold it to make sure there's no any other faults. And you can see I pulled up that old TCAS fault there. That's normal. We'll go ahead and clear that back out. TCAS in-op, that's part of this airplane. And moving down the rest of the pedestal here, let's go ahead and put a squawk of 2000 in there. And coming down, parking brake is set. Come back over here. Radar PWS is off, and down into the box, and let's plan our McDo. We're doing what's called a round-robin flight plan today. All that means is essentially we are taking off and landing at the same airport. So I'm going to just zoom this in right here. Dougal says, are you running the 320 beta update? I am not, but I might do the beta update for Friday to get the failures working. I tried to do simulated engine failure with the flight factor in the stable version, and I can't get it to work. And the problem is, I'm not going to do it if I can't get it to work properly and if it's not modeled correctly, because what can happen is if I do this in the sim for you guys just having fun, it's called expectation bias, right? So I'll see something happening here in Xplane that's not accurate or true to the real aircraft, and then when I go into the sim, I'm going to expect to see that same thing, or I may see something different, and it could cause real problems with the real aircraft. So if I can't get it to work like it should, if it's not modeled correctly, we're going to have to skip it, because I don't want to do what's called negative training. So hopefully we'll get that to work. I'm going to try the beta update to see if that helps the situation, and then if still it's an issue, I'm going to try the TOLUS, because I know they have some failure stuff modeled, and I'm going to try the TOLUS, and if it still doesn't work, then we might have to come up with something else. But hopefully we'll be able to get some kind of engine failure proper modeling. We're just going to go as a V1 sim today. Cost index of 25 doesn't really matter. Our cruise altitude is going to be 5,000 feet. And we can go ahead and align on a ref. All right, return that. That looks good. Yeah, my GPU is cooking right now. Jeez. I don't think anything open in the background. Let me just look at my task manager real quick. Freaking Streamlabs, man. Streamlabs is like the equivalent of Flight Factor to Xplane. 100% on my GPU. That might have to do with we're running low vis right now, and I know that really makes a difference. So we're going to depart 16 left on the Harbor 6 departure. insert that, and then we're going to just go ahead and load up the arrival to 16 center, insert that. Secondary, we're going to do this properly here because we're going to come back around. We're going to do, actually, we're not, because we're doing something else. We're going to do Seattle, Seattle. And I'm going to put in the RNAV to, so we're doing this for Checkride purposes. We're going to do this RNAV 34 center, I believe it was, correct? Let me look at my charts here. RNAV 34 center, RNAV Yankee. Here it is. All right, so we've got that in the secondary. We're going to just leave that right now. We'll finish up the perf data. Actually, let's just go ahead and do it now. What the heck? All right, so this is for our approach back in. Right now, what do we have for temperature and dew point? All that good stuff. 2992, perfect. Typical standard day, when you have super low vis like this, you're not going to have very much wind anyway. So RVR 500, wind calm, 2992. Temperature for us, oops, hit M there. Airplane is showing 14C, so yeah, it's virtually standard. 040 on the wind. And if we look at our charts here, RNAV 34 center. So I'm going to be I'm using these charts lightly because these aren't my company charts. I have my company charts in front of me, and I'm going to be using my company charts because that's what I'm going to be using in the sim. But I'll still be able to show you guys some stuff off of this. So our LNAV, VNAV minimums. We don't do LPV. We're going to do LNAV, VNAV, which is 839, and it happens to be a DA, which means we don't have to add 50 feet. So we're just going to put it in straight up 839 on the MDA. Config full. Everything looks good there in the secondary. RadNav, I am going to hard tune the Seattle VOR. We're going to put that right there. And it B, let's go ahead and request that. And perf data, what do we got here? 50.8, that's close enough. 23.1, perfect. That looks good to me. Let's go ahead and close up all the services. Remove the air stairs there. We'll go ahead and close up the cargoes. Fuel's already on board, and we don't need him anymore because we are on APU power. All right, our init B is set. Progress page. We're going to just put in Seattle 16 left, and then perf. What do we got? Flight factor, talk to me. We're going to do a flaps 1 takeoff, flex 55, and we're going to change these V speeds. We're going to go 130, 135, and 141. And I want to make sure I did have some failures. No. Nope, it's under flight configuration, isn't it? How do I... I think I still have some failures on. Is there... How do I... There's a way to get it up, isn't there? General? Nope. I could have sworn there was a way to pull up failures here. I must be crazy. Is there not a way to pull up failures? I just wanted to clear failures because I had a few in there. Oh well. I guess you can't, I guess you can't. Unless I'm missing it. Anyway. Alright, let's take a look at our flight plan real quick here. We are going to depart off 16 left, and then we're just going to vector ourselves out to the trading area. We're going to do some maneuvers. We're going to do our steep turns and stalls, and then we're going to come back around for the loc on 16 center. So that is all in the box there. Perf data is set. Everything else looks good. So let's go ahead and get our flows ready. Dun, 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 dun. That's on auto, and everything looks good there. TCAS is over here at 2000. I'm going to just go ahead and turn it on for, well, we're not on Pilot Edge, but I think some of the announcements are triggered by this as well, so I want to make sure that old, what's her name, Haley in the back there doesn't get confused. Alright, flight plan, perf page over here. I think we're ready to go. Let's go ahead and plan our pushback, and we're going to be getting out of here. And then I'll be more in the chat with you guys. I just wanted to get the airplane off the gate. I can already see something I'm forgetting here, but let's, we're going to pre-plan. We're off the south terminal here, kind of tucked away in the, by Bravo, over by Southwest. We're going to do this, and yeah, that looks right, because then there's Bravo up there. All right. That looks good to me.
Cockpit. Plan acknowledged. Call me through the menu when you are ready.
Go into aircraft where you would choose a livery. Let me see. Oops. Flight configuration. Customize. Ah! There we go. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Okay, always working. There we go. I had engine separation on. It wasn't really working, but I just, of course, if I left it on and we took off in the stream, I'm sure it would happen, and we would have an engine separation in live stream. So we don't want to do that. All right, last thing I got to do here, I apologize. I need to pull up my checklist. And nope. Nope. Look at that. Nice foggy day. 500 RVR is pretty low, guys. Where is... I will find it. Right here. Checklist. Perfect. All right. Practice how you play, right? Before start, checklist. Maintenance log and tail number, on board and check. Cockpit prep is complete. Oops. Cockpit prep complete. Gear pins and covers, remove signs. They are on and auto. They are now. ADIRS, nav, fuel, 9.5 required, 9.5 on board essentially. We'll just call it 9 required, 9.4 on board. Altimeters, 29902, set once, set twice, set 3 times. EFB checked. Windows, doors, and slides. They are closed and armed. A beacon is on. Thrust levers idle. Parking brake is on for now. Transponder is in transponder. Before start, checklist complete. Thanks for the subscribe there, Mike Drawing 9. Appreciate it, man. Dimitri says, welcome to FPS Cemetery, Seattle in overcast. Yeah, we're going to get rid of it as soon as we get rid of our low-vis taxi. So let's go ahead and get our pushback going.
Ground to cockpit. Tow is driving up.
And I'll show you guys here. So unfortunately, the free charts that I downloaded for Seattle do not show the SMIGS charts. So we have, they call them SMIGS charts, or they're basically low visibility taxi routes. And there's certain taxiways that you only can travel on when SMIGS operation is in effect. And essentially, it's not depicted on here, but what it is you can only take Bravo or Alpha, and it's a north direction, and then you can take off 16 left or 16 right. 16 center is not approved for low-vis takeoff. So we're going to give ourselves a little bit of a confusing clearance. That way we can just make sure everything looks good when we're taxiing out. But I'm going to intentionally go Bravo, Alpha, Golf, Bravo to Charlie. So we're going to take Bravo. We're going to have to make a small right turn to Alpha, cut across on Golf, and then go all the way down to Charlie. And in low-vis situation at 500 RVR, it's, you know, you really are looking. The airplane's moving maybe 5 knots going down the taxiway because it's very difficult to see the signs, and you don't want to end up somewhere where you're not supposed to. Now, in low visibility taxi operations, you can tell which taxiways are low vis capable because they're the ones that have the green centerline lights. If you don't have green centerline lights on your taxiway, that means it's not a low visibility taxi route. So if you find yourself on a taxiway that doesn't have green lights, you're in the wrong spot. Now, how well Xplane models that, we're going to find out here.
So connected and bypassed and inserted. Release parking brake.
Alrighty. Brakes release, clear to push, tail in the alley, sir.
Starting pushback. And you may start engine.
Roger that. Alright. Jay Holmstrom says, I have my next IRL recurrent sim in January. It's always in Seattle as well. Nice, man. Yeah, Seattle's pretty much, I don't know if ours is going to be in Seattle this year, but it has been in the past, you know, because if you're going to be doing low-vis stuff in the United States, more often than not, it's going to be in the Pacific Northwest or, you know, maybe up way high in the Northeast. And I just use Seattle as a standard, just practice, but sometimes you do other airports like Burbank or something like that. Las Vegas is a good one for terrain avoidance and doing single engine maneuvers and stuff like that. Goldman says that the ECAM action fully modeled. I don't, you know, for normal operations, yes, Goldman, it is. I have yet to really look into it for failures, which I'm going to be doing some more testing on myself tomorrow or today and tomorrow, and then we'll take a look into it on Sunday to see if it really is fit to go for engine failure and stuff like that. I tried simulating an engine failure by turning the master switch off, but that messes up the ECAM because it thinks that you just shut the engine off, which you really did. So it's not the proper procedure. And if I can't get the proper procedure shown, then I'm just not going to do it because, like I said, I don't want to do something that's incorrect just to do it and then go to the sim and have to do it and see something different. So it can get confusing. Tony Doc says, I got to go. We'll look forward to catching up with this later. Have a safe flight. Thank you, Tony. Have a good one, man. You have a good day, my friend. JDrag10, watching from school. Don't get caught, man. Don't get caught. All right, he's pulling us forward now. Let's go ahead and crank it. We got 40 PSI, turning one. I gotta adjust this view here. I don't really like this view. How about there? I'll make sure I got my sound set up.
Operation complete. Set parking brake.
Okay, brake set, clear, disconnect. Show me the pin out front.
Disconnecting tow. Stand by.
So for Fudge Supreme says do a single engine taxi. So in low vis taxi like this is a simulated low vis taxi at below 600 RVR. We are not going to do a single engine taxi because you want to have maximum eyes outside and maximum situational awareness. So if I'm taxiing out single engine and then I ask the first officer to start engine 2, you know, now he's doing his checklist trying to get things started and we're not both looking outside. So we don't do that. We're going to go ahead and start them both here at the gate. That way everybody can be looking outside. Wojtek, CVR, good morning, pilots. Good morning, Wojtek. Good to have you here, friend. All right, let's get started on one. Let's go ahead and crank engine 2.
Hose disconnected and bypass pin has been removed. Hand signal on the right. We'll see you next time and have a safe flight.
Great, thanks for the smooth push. See you next time. Little Aeroflot Airbus there. That's kind of strange. Man, that engine start sound, though, is awesome. All right, I can hear the bus trip over, so I know it sounds like it's already started. Yes, it is. That goes normal. Up. Flaps 1. Oh, yeah. Guys, that's just awesome. Man. That is just awesome. All right, they are on 1 plus F. Everything else is going to come off. Boom, boom. Let's go ahead and set these down a little bit for the flight attendant to start yelling at us. All right, so we need to see where we are here. We basically came off of the south ramp area. We're over here, so we're going to kind of make this little jaunt and find ourselves on Bravo. And that's going to be right out here to our right. So the main terminal building is here, and we're going to go straight out and make a right. This is probably the scariest part to low-vis operations, is once you're on the ramp area, because you typically aren't going to have lights, and it's sketchy, man. Not going to lie, it's sketchy. All right, here we go. Oh, my screen is doing that. Like that right there. That's my worst nightmare. Some dude just running across the road and smashing into the airplane. Just happened, I think, the other day. Somebody posted in the Discord. Fuel truck or something. Alright, so Victory 1, taxi 16 left, Bravo Alpha Golf Charlie. Alright, so Bravo Alpha Golf Charlie to 16 left. So we're going to take the outer, transition to the inner, through the cargo ramps, and then we're going to hop over on Golf. Sometimes you might have construction or something here in the middle of a taxiway, and they may make you do a little sidestep like that. So we're going to simulate that, and then all the way to Charlie, which is the second entrance. But you could see, I mean, this is pretty real. This is still pretty high. As a matter of fact, I wonder if I can lower it even more. Let's go ahead and stop here, just for simulation purposes, and we'll change it. Oops. Let's go flight configuration, weather. Let's go as low as we can go. 300, 300, 300 RVR. Resume. I can't really go much lower. You would. Oh my gosh, I hate that. Stop that. Yeah, Gerald says fuel truck and DFW 2 Mesa CRJ9s. Ouch. Ouch. So here you can see the green light starting, so we know we're going to take Bravo northbound on the low vis route here. Let's do a little cinematic taxi by. Man, I love that. Alright, so we're on Bravo now. Let's orient our chart. Take Bravo, we're going to have to make a slight right to Alpha. Lower the ceiling, let's see if we can do that. Here. What if I put it all the way to the ground? That's about as low as it goes. That's in the ground, essentially. It's definitely cooking my CPU, I think. But yeah, in a real low vis, you wouldn't see any of this. You barely see the in front of the airplane. Can I make it lower? There's got to be a way to make it lower. 300 preset. Let's do none. All the way to ground level. Let's try that. It's about as low as she'll go. That's unfortunate. Put base in at 0 feet. Let's see. RVR 300. Can I just make it 0? Now 315 is as low as it goes. Base is at 0. What about overcast cumulus? It's about as low as it goes. But yeah, I think I've got some shots. I'll see if I can end up finding them and post them up. But Yeah, you can only, in real life, in a low vis like this, you really only see about this far in front of the airplane. And you'll see your taxiway markings as you're pretty much passing them. So that's why taxiing is extremely slow. We won't do any pre-flight or taxi checklists or anything like that while the aircraft is moving. We will only do that when the aircraft is stopped. So no flight control checks, no briefings, none of that. But she looks good. This is Bravo Alpha, so we need to make right. What if I adjust the time of day here a little bit? Let me... Oh, I have it tracking real world. Let me make it darker. I wonder if that will... There we go. That's a little bit more realistic. So here's Alpha. So now you can really see the low-vis routes, right? But you wouldn't be able to see any of these signs in real life. That's a little too dark, but... That's pretty dark. How about like right at dusk? Man, that is dark. There we go. Yeah, we'll go with that for now. Change from RVR to Viz. Let's try that. Visibility 0.1. It should be about, I mean, I don't think it's going to change it. It's the same. RVR is lower than visibility. So, technically. So essentially, if the airport starts reporting RVR, that typically means you're going to be below or at a quarter-mile visibility, because they're not going to report an 1/8 mile or 1/16 mile. Once you hit a quarter-mile visibility, you're going to start seeing RVR reports in the ATIS. Alright, so here we are on, we made the jaunt over to, onto Alpha, then we're going to make a left onto Bravo as we go past the FedEx terminal here. But it's a slow process. I mean, when visibility like this really takes a tank in real life, the whole airport is in slow mode. And for good reason too, you know, you don't want guys banging metal. But it sure makes it cozy for passengers, I'll tell you that. Alright, here comes our transition, I believe. Yep, this is Gulf. So we're going to make a left here on the Gulf. That's actually improperly marked. There should have been another taxiway sign right there. So we're going to jaunt back over and then join Bravo again. All the way down. And then they'll say something like, Victor 1, change departure to 16 left at Delta to see if they can catch you off guard. So Delta on 16 left is just before Charlie. You don't want to go all the way to the end. You got to get on Delta. That's an easy way to bust right there. Man. The sounds, though. Yeah, Jump and Run says it's weird. I gotta check that. I've done Cat 3 approaches and Xplane basically saw nothing. And you know, Jump and Run, that's what I thought too. And I don't know, maybe this is an Active Sky thing. Maybe Active Sky isn't allowing it to happen. I don't even have Active Sky running right now though. So there's 16 left at Echo. Echo. Alright, so there's Echo, so we gotta go to Delta. The next one is ours. Tech Aviator says, V1, have you ever had to do an auto land in real life in these conditions? Yes, I have. Dimitri says, V1, but a lot more realistic using X and Viro. Dimitri, I'm telling you, man, I've almost bought that thing, that program, probably 5 times now. And after, I believe it was XP1972, you were doing a stream with it a couple weeks ago. And I literally put it in my cart to buy it. And then I saw another Microsoft 2020 video coming out. And I was just thinking to myself, why would I spend this money if I'm going to just be going to Microsoft 2020? I don't know, man. All right, here's Delta. Let's make the left turn here. We're going to hold short, and then we need to do all of our checks when the aircraft is stopped and the parking brake is set. And I like to just give it a wide berth here, especially in low vis. You never know what's going to happen. So let's go ahead and stop there. Brake set. There's our accumulator pressure, and taxi light is off. All right, let's do a flight control check. Full up. Full down. Neutral. Full left. Full right. Neutral. Ailerons are drooping. Everything is centered. The facts are looking good. We'll go up here. Auto brakes. Max. Takeoff config. That goes system 1. PWS into auto, which we can't move that switch. That's right. TARA. Cabin crew is advised. And now we have to go over here real quick and pretend we're flight attendants. Go back to perf data. Now we have takeoff config normal. I'm going to be in terrain mode. First officer is going to have weather radar on. And we are holding short, ready to go. Let's run a checklist. After start, we did that before takeoff. Gross weight comparison is complete. Pitch trim. We're looking at 0.5% CG set. V1, VR, V2 flex, 130, 135, 141, flex 55 set. Flaps config 1 plus F. Flight instruments, they are checked. Flight controls checked. ECAM memo, takeoff all green. ECAM status checked. PWS is auto. TCAS code set, TRI cabin crew advised, mini brief is complete. Takeoff runway 16 left at Delta. There it is. 16 left at Delta confirmed. Fuel 9 required, 9.3 on board. Engine mode selector, normal. Bleeds and packs are set before takeoff. Checklist complete. All right, and for you guys, for the sake of the departure briefing, we're just going to take off. I don't know even if I don't have the harbor on here because we're not going to fly. We're just going to take off, and then I'm essentially going to give myself a radar vector, and then we're going to go do air work, and we'll clean up the weather. So everything else looks good. Brakes released. Victory 1, you're clear for takeoff. 16 left. All right, here we go. Oops, I didn't mean to move that one to... There we go. There we go. Let's do it. That looks good. So another trick in low visibility, you can tell how far the visibility is by looking at the runway edge lights because they're spaced at, what is it, 500 feet apart? Or 100 feet apart? I need to look that up. But if you see 3 of them or something that means something, and you can, it's another way of knowing your RVR. It's kind of one of the trick questions they ask you. It's like, all right, you line up on the runway. How do you know you can take off at 300 RVR? And you can say, well, I can see, 6 runway edge lights or something like that. So, all right, everything looks good to go. I'm going to pop these out for you. We're going to be flexing 55. Runway heading is 165. That checks. Here we go. Spool them up 50%. Man, that engine sound. Man, flex. SRS runway, auto thrust is blue. $80 knots, thrust set. Neutral by 100. V1. Rotate. Positive rate. Gear up. We're navving. And chrono. Yeah. I gotta get that. I forgot to get that Lewis script that I believe Romulus made for that. Alright, we're navving. Pretty much nothing to see in this conditions, guys. I mean, pretty sketchy. Looking for acceleration altitude. There it is. Make sure you get a positive trend in airspeed before reducing the thrust levers. There it is. Thrust climb auto thrust. Let's go ahead and brighten up the day a little bit. What do you say? Oops. There's flaps 1. Or flap 0, I should say. Man, that sounds good. Alright, autopilot 1. And what I want to do here is make sure that's disarmed, and I'm going to go ahead and clean out the weather for now. Let's just do marginal VFR. There we go. Oh, I don't want to see clouds. Let's just clear it out, because we're going to do some visual maneuvers anyway. VFR it is. Boom. Boom. Look at that. That is a thing of beauty, guys. Wow. That is nice. That's Orbix right there for you. Orbix, Washington. Alright, let's get back to the check right here. Alright, out of the right turn. We're going to climb and maintain at 7,000. Let's do 8,000. Climb and maintain 8,000. Turn right, heading 270. Alright, 270 on the heading. Select speed 250. After takeoff, check this gear is up. Flaps are retracted 0. Bleeds and packs are set, and APU is off. So now we'll go ahead and set up for our maneuvers. Leveling 7,000 feet on a heading of 270.
Ahead. Look up.
Thank you for the subscribe there, Warlon112. Awesome, man. Alright. So we're level 250 knots. 8,000 feet. First maneuver we're going to get into, guys, is steep turns. So if you guys haven't watched any of my videos before, you're just kind of new to Airbus, this has a lot. Basically, this maneuver, the steep turn maneuver, is showing your understanding of the fly-by-wire control laws. So essentially, in normal law, which the aircraft is in normal law right now, if I roll up to 33 degrees angle of bank and let go of the side stick, it will maintain 33 degrees angle of bank. It will auto-coordinate with the rudder. You don't have to use any rudder input. Everything is going to be automatic. Once I go past 33 degrees angle of bank, then the aircraft is going to no longer have automatic coordination with the rudder, and it's also going to want to revert back to 33 degrees angle of bank. So if I were to roll it all the way to 60 and then just let go of the side stick, it's going to go right straight back to 33. So the point of the steep turn maneuvers is you want to have at least 40 degrees angle of bank. And the reason you want 40 is because they want you to demonstrate that once you go past 33, you're going to have to compensate for pitch and rudder coordination. So just like a conventional airplane, after 33 degrees angle of bank, you have to fly it. You got to use your rudders and you got to use a little bit of pitch compensation. You're not going to have auto trim. So what I like to do for this maneuver in the check ride in the real aircraft, I'm going to do it here in the sim, is I go to track FPA. And essentially what this does, we don't need the ND up, we're just going to keep the PFD up. What this does is it gives me the bird here. And the bird, I'll make it even a little bit bigger so it's easier for you guys to see. The bird is very nice for this maneuver. If you keep the center of the donut, or the center of the little fuselage here, right on the horizon line, that's wings level. So you know right away that you're going to be wings level in the turn. Also, if you want to descend, you put the tail of that bird right on the bottom of the horizon, that's 3-degree descent, or you can put it up right above it and it's 3-degree climb. So it's a very useful tool in manual flying of the Airbus. So let's go ahead and turn flight directors off. Autopilot off. We'll use auto thrust on this one. We're allowed to use auto thrust. We're going to keep it on auto thrust. So right now we have the bird. I'm going to just do a steep turn from 270 And I'm going to put my ND in arc mode here so I get a full, I'm sorry, I shouldn't say arc mode, in rose nav. So now I have a 360-degree compass here. And what we're going to do is we're going to roll left to 090, and then we're going to come right back to 270. And actually, that's incorrect. What we're going to do is we're going to roll left all the way to 270 and then right. We got to make two 360s. So here we go. I'm going to roll in, and I'm just going to demonstrate here a little bit of what's happening. So right about there is 33 degrees angle of bank. I'm going to let go of the side stick. So right now I'm hands off. The airplane is automatically holding 33 degrees angle of bank. Now you can see flight factor is a little bit sluggish there on the elevator. There we go. So I'm pretty much hand off, and it's pretty much holding 33 degrees. But that won't suffice for the check ride. You have to go past 33 degrees up to close to 40 degrees angle of bank. So as I roll now, manually rolling the aircraft, I have to do a little bit of back pressure to keep the aircraft level, because as you introduce bank, what's going to happen is you're going to kill that vertical component of lift, and the aircraft's going to want to descend. So now let's see, as an example, I'm going to just let go of the stick. The fly-by-wire is going to take control, and it's going to stop the rotation right about 33 degrees angle of bank. So this isn't the steep turn maneuver. This is just kind of explaining to you what's happening here. And as we approach 090, I'm going to just roll out here and stop it early, and then we'll do the actual maneuver. I know I'm talking a lot, but I just wanted you guys to see that. So the point of the steep turn maneuver is to demonstrate that you know all that stuff about the fly-by-wire. So let's do the proper steep turn maneuver. I'm going to go ahead and roll in to the left now. We're going to come make a 360 all the way back to 090. So I'm rolling in. A little bit of back pressure. Your plus or minus 100 feet is your limitation. I started about 100 feet low, so I'm going to correct and just get back to 8,000 feet here. I'm going to introduce just a little bit of a climb here. Get back to 8,000. I started the maneuver low, so I should technically maintain 7,900 all the way around, but I want to try to get back up to 8,000. You see, it's definitely a little bit more sensitive than what you're accustomed to in full fly-by-wire mode, where it's just auto-coordinating for pitch. Come on, baby. Give me 20 more feet. 20 more feet. There's 8,000. All right, level her out there now. Now, as long as I keep the bird, don't descend. Right there. That's where I want. Lock it in now. Lock it in. Man, I'm still 20 feet low. Rusty. This is why I'm practicing this. All right, here comes 090. We're going to level out, and we're going to go straight into a right-hand turn now. Now, as I roll out, you got to make sure you nose down a little bit, because as you roll wings level, that horizontal component of lift is going to take over. You see how it wants to climb? You got to make sure you counter that. Here comes 090, and we're going to come to the right now. All the way back around to the right. Get her locked in. Definitely a little bit more sensitive. It might just be my resolution settings on my joystick. Yeah, see right there? That's 100 feet. That's a no-no. Get back down. I probably should do it with the auto thrust off, because in the sim here I'm noticing the thrust is really reacting to the altitude, and that might be causing my excess in altitude gain and loss, because the thrust levers are moving. In the real airplane, they pretty much remain stationary. I mean, you can do the maneuver with them on or with them off. It's up to you as the pilot. Maybe I should have turned them off, because as they increase thrust, what's the airplane going to want to do? It's going to want to climb. So this one's looking a little bit better. We're pretty much locked in at 8,000 feet here now. A little bit more up there. I want to see 000s on that altimeter. Alright, we're getting ready to come through 360. We're going to come where we started at 090. This is where I'd have the first officer go ahead and set 090 on the heading bug for me, please. But since we don't have one of those, we're just going to level out 090 myself. You want to make sure you roll out on the heading of 090 so you don't go past it or roll out undercut it, because that would be a bust as well. Alright, here comes 090, roll it out. Oh, whoa. That was a little weird there. Alright, back 090, a little bit low there. So that's, I probably should have done that maneuver with the auto thrust off. Let's go ahead and try it real quick with the auto thrust off. I'm going to do, we'll just do a half turn. Alright, auto thrust is disconnected. I'm going to just do real quick a 90 or a 180 turn back to 270. I want to set my thrust. And here we go. I'm going to just maintain 7,900 feet since I already started the maneuver at 7,900. I'm going to maintain 7,900. Yeah, see that just, it's a little bit smoother with manual thrust. At least in the flight factor model. Yeah, come back up 7,900 feet. Once you hit 20 feet, start correcting. Don't let the airplane get away from you. Come on, get back up there. There's 7,900 feet. Here comes 270 on the heading. Begin my rollout about 10 degrees prior. There we go. Yeah, see, it's much smoother with manual thrust. Alright, let's go ahead and re-engage the autopilot. Re-engage auto thrust. Put it back in the auto thrust detent there. There she goes. That was weird. It is in lever climb. Okay, flight factor. I know what you're telling me. Alright, so I missed a lot of the chat there, but I'm just trying to run through these maneuvers here for you. While we get ready for the stall sequence here, what I'm going to demonstrate is the lowest selectable speed here. I'm just going to go ahead and roll this all the way back, and then I'll get some chat. So we're at 100 knots. We're leveled off at 8,000. Let's just watch what happens in normal law as the aircraft is commanded to go to 100 knots. Let me get caught up in some of the chat here. New Guinea says, how do you know when you use barrel or radio for your DH? Also, how do you find your DH value? So that's all going to be set on the chart. Now, and depending on where you fly, it could be airline specific, it could be country specific. So for us, we are using a DH when we're doing a Cat 2, or we use no DH and we just literally put no, and I'm going to demonstrate that in the Autoland part of this video. We put no in the DH and then we do Autoland, and then we use baro mins pretty much for everything else. But like I said, it depends on your airline and your country and how everything works and on the approach chart. So that's most of the time you're just going to be looking at your approach plate minimums down here, and you're going to pick out your, either your DH or your MDA, whatever you want to use. And that, like I said, that's a very tough question to answer because it can be so specific to an airline that you work for, or for different countries' rules, or European flight rules, things like that could all be different. All right, so now you can tell here in normal law, if I select 100 knots, the aircraft is going to slow to VLS, which is the tip of this tiger tail, and that's all it will do. It will not go any less than 100 knots. So what if I go ahead and reduce the thrust levers to idle? All right, I'm going to reduce the thrust levers to idle. Let's see what happens. Autopilot is still engaged. We're at vertical speed 0, or FPA 0 technically. There we go, vertical speed 0. All right, so now with the thrust levers in the idle position, we approach Alpha Prot. We should get an autopilot disconnect here. Where is it? There it is. Autopilot disconnected. That's the first sign of a stall. Nose down. Slowly increase your thrust levers. Clear that. and we got a positive trend. Be very smooth on the recovery because you don't want to secondary stall it. And that's because we're dropping below 8,000 feet. That's fine. We're climbing back up. We now have a good climb. Shushy. I'm going to move that over. And now we've recovered from that stall. So that was, see, it didn't really stall. What happened is the autopilot just disconnected and said, hey, dummy, what's going to happen here? You need to take control. So it kicked off, lowered the nose. Now we're going to go ahead and simulate that again. I'm going to go flaps in the 1 position here. I'm going to bring thrust levers to idle. And now what's going to happen is I'm just going to pitch up and I'm going to maintain a positive, or try to maintain a positive climb and fly the airplane into a stall. I'm going to attempt to fly it into a stall. This is going to be kind of simulating a departure stall, so we're going to go flaps 2. And Dougal says you can hear the packs holding their breath at 40 degrees bank. That's what that sound was, I know. Alright, this is going to get annoying, so I'm just going to go ahead and spin that up out of the way. I'm going to spin that up to 230. Alright, so that's excessive. We don't have to do that high. Alright, so let's see what happens here in normal law. I'm going to maintain climbing out about 15, 12 and a half degrees. The thrust is at idle. Auto thrust is off. Alpha floor kicks in. Now look at my ECAM, look at my engine spinning up. That's the sign of a stall. Lower the nose. We got to get that flow going back over the wings. There it is. Toga lock. That means I need to go into toga and bring the thrust levers back out. And we go. Positive climb. The aircraft is in climbing position now. And we'll go ahead and disconnect the thrust levers with the instinctive disconnect push button there, or you could bring it into the idle detent. And we'll level here at about 9,000 feet or so. Alright, so you could see there with everything working, everything functioning, I'm going to go ahead and come back around to 090. With everything functioning, flight director's off, the aircraft went into alpha floor protection, even though I was trying to stall it climbing up with the thrust levers at idle. So now, the last one we're going to do for demonstration is we're going to put the aircraft into a stall in alternate law. So I'm going to go ahead and turn off the ADIRs, 1 and 2. Clear the caution, acknowledge the ECAM. Basically, we're in alternate law now, and that's depicted here. Alternate law. And we have the ECAM amber, I'm not sorry, the PFD amber X's right here. That means the aircraft's in alternate law. Now you'll notice that I have no speed or altitude information. That's because my speed and altitude information from ADR1 and ADR2 are off. It's unable. But we still have one more ADIR that we can use. We have ADR3, right? So I'm going to come down here to my switching panel, and I'm going to put air data into Captain 3. And now, look at that. I have speed and altitude information because I've manually selected my third ADR to give me that information. All right, where we let's. I want to keep track of where we are here on the map as well. I don't want to get too far from Seattle, so let's go ahead and come back to about what was it? 090 on the heading, and we'll level here at 10,000 feet. I'm going to come all the way back around to 090 on the heading. So now what we're going to do is we're actually going to stall this airplane. So the airplane can stall in alternate law. And we're going to do this in the landing configuration. So I'm going to go flaps 3. Oops. That was a little aggressive there on flaps 3. When I put the gear down, I'm going to start a little bit of a descent right here, kind of simulating that the aircraft is on approach. And as I put the gear down, the aircraft is going to go from alternate law to direct law. So gear's coming down. Let's just go ahead and bug, 145. So now, with the gear down, I have used man pitch trim. Now, this isn't entirely accurate. I believe it should say man pitch trim only. But essentially what we have now is you could see already how jerky the airplane is. I have a direct relationship now between my side stick deflection and the elevator. So it's very sensitive in pitch. So now I'm going to just go ahead and go flaps full. Thanks for the subscribe there, guys. I can't really see who's subbing just yet, because I'm trying to fly this puppy here. But now we're going to go full stall. So we're going to simulate a flare here. We're just going to kind of gently, thrust levers are at idle. I'm just going to kind of level the pitch of the airplane. Just kind of pull it up here. Nice and level. Put that bird right on the horizon line. And now the aircraft will stall in direct law. Right there I can see the buffeting. And now, let's take a look outside. That looks like a stalled airplane to me. So there it is. You can definitely stall the Airbus in alternate and direct law, of course. Alright, so let's go ahead and recover. So I'm going to go ahead and lower the nose. Increase my thrust smoothly. Start trying to get a positive trend in that VSI. So now very slowly I start bringing that nose up. If you rip that nose up, you'll induce a secondary stall. Positive rate. Gear up. Cancel the caution. We'll level here at 8,000. Let's go flaps 3. I'm going to go ahead and increase speed now. Let's go ahead and bring it all the way back up to 250 knots. There's 8,000 feet. Let's go ahead and bring the nose back down. So when you see when the gear came back up, the aircraft went from direct law into alternate law now. So we went back up. We're over speeding there. So let's go ahead and clean up the airplane. Pilot Picks Aviation. He's coming in with a $5 super chat. Says, you're awesome, man. I love the content. Keep it up. Thanks so much, my friend. Really appreciate that. I'm glad you're enjoying the content. Sorry I'm not paying too much attention to chat right now, guys. I'm just trying to kind of go through some of these maneuvers that you guys kind of see, different flight control laws of the airplane. Thank you so much for supporting the channel, though. Really appreciate it. And thank you, my friend. Let's go ahead and turn our ADIRS back on. Let's go ahead and revert that into normal mode. We're going to clean up the airplane here. I'm going to go auto thrust back on, autopilot 1. We're going to do heading 265. And we're going to do an open. Where's she at? There we go. Jeez. Actually, this is what I do want to do one more test here to show you guys. We're going to level at 7,000. And we're going to do high-speed protection, and then we're going to get into our maneuvers. Alright. So we're leveling at 7,000, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to ram the thrust levers into toga. Now the last thing we're going to demonstrate here is we're going to see our high-speed protection kick in on the Airbus. As we approach V&E, we're going to get the overspeed warning. Once we hit this little green equal sign right here, the aircraft is going to turn off the autopilot and it's going to pitch up to prevent the aircraft from going so fast that it incurs structural damage. So let's go ahead and take a look, see if that works here. There's V&E. We should get a red warning horn right now. We're not getting that. There's autopilot off. Overspeed, VMO, 350, 82 Mach. I'm not touching anything right now. This is the airplane doing its thing. Autopilot's off, and you see how it pitched up to prevent that overspeed and damage of the aircraft. So let's go ahead and bring the thrust levers to idle. Let's get the aircraft back under control. Once you're in a super high-speed situation, everything that you do on the side stick you got to be very careful with, because your G loading is going to be increased significantly at high speed. So very slow movements. And I'm going to get into a really fun sim for you next week where we really take this airplane to the limits in enhanced envelope training and things like that. So that'll be next week after the sim, all that stuff. But I just kind of wanted to go through some of those maneuvers for you. Basically, in a stalling situation, we recover at the first sign of a stall. First thing you want to do is lower the nose, reduce that angle of attack, and then slowly start getting that thrust in there to help settle or arrest that descent rate. Now, you don't want to just ram the thrust levers forward in any stall, because what can happen is when you ram that thrust full forward like that, the aircraft will have a tendency to pitch up. And if you're pitching up and you increase thrust to max and the aircraft pitches up, now you can have a secondary stall, which is an automatic bust. You don't want to do that. So let's go ahead and rebuild our automation here. Let's descend and maintain 7,000 feet. We're autopilot 1. Let's going to come, we'll do 250 knots, and let's go ahead and put this back into climb. Detent. Auto thrust. Thrust idle. Boom. We're slowing to 250. Open descent heading. Autopilot 1. Let's get our flight directors back on. And now, let's see where we are, and let's start doing some more fun stuff here. So the aircraft is over here. We need to come left. We need to come this way. All right. So that was kind of, I know it seemed rushed, and it seemed kind of clustered, but what I want you guys to take away from a stalling situation in the Airbus, first thing you got to do, reduce the angle of attack. Lower the nose. Once you have lowered the nose, reduced the angle of attack, now you need to start recovering the aircraft's flight path. Begin a nice shallow pitch up and slowly bring those thrust levers in. It's not like, 172, or you wouldn't even really want to do it in a 172 either, just ramming it full forward. You don't want to do that. Slowly get that thrust lever back in there, get the aircraft in a positive rate, and then start cleaning up the airplane. So that's what I want you to take away from the stall series. There's a couple things. I'm not going hardcore into detail of what's happening on the ECAM and stuff, because a lot of it, to be honest with you, doesn't look right. I think there's a couple things that aren't really happening right, and some of the symbology is wrong. So I'm trying to ignore that right now as I get ready for my sim. But I have been working on the flight factor and TOLUS comparison video, where I will talk about all the symbology and all the little details in those abnormal law and direct law and things like that. And we'll be comparing the aircraft head-to-head again in my V2 version of that video. So I apologize for not really going through the ECAMs and explaining all the details. I just wanted you guys to learn or see the procedure of a stall recovery, which I'll say it one more time: reduce the angle of attack, recover the aircraft's flight path, and slowly get that thrust back in there. Then we also did our steep turns, where we talked about 33 degrees angle of bank. Everything's automatic, right? Pitch, roll, auto rudder, all that stuff. Once you go past 33 degrees angle of bank, you're now flying the airplane. You got to increase pitch. You got to get the rudder coordination in there. It's all on you past 33 degrees angle of bank. If you let go of the side stick at 33, it's going to, if you let go of the side stick past 33 degrees, it's going to roll you back to 33 degrees. So hopefully you learned something there from either the steep turns or the stalls. Now we're going to set up for our localizer into 1/6 center. So I'm going to go ahead and get this set up right now. Let's go ahead and look at our flight plan. We actually have 1/6 center already in there. Let's go activate, confirm we're in selected speed, 29.902. Temperature was 15, winds were calm. And for the localizer, we're going to do set up ILS. So in the sim, they kind of try to trick you. Say, expect the ILS 1/6 center glide slope out of service. So we're going to expect essentially a localizer approach, because if the glide slope's out, you can't use it, right? So descend and maintain 5,000 feet, reduce speed 210 knots. And let's take a look at our box here. Make sure everything is set up, and then we'll run some checklists and get ready for a loc approach. We're going to do this one to a mist. All right, so for the localizer, we have an MDA. Now, let's see if it's depicted here. Is this the right chart? Yes, ILS 1/6 center. So for a localizer, you can see straight in ILS at 630. For a straight in localizer, we now have 800. Now, depending on your category aircraft, A, B, C, D, you might have different minimums. We're going to be using these minimums over here. 800. Now, what this chart doesn't show you, or it does show you, it shows you the MDA and the DH, which would be 370 feet above ground level. But because it's not a vertical, we don't have any vertical deviation, vertical guidance, we're not going to use the DA. We have to use the MDA. When we have MDA, that means must do addition. That means we got to add 50 feet to this one. So it's 800 plus 50. We're going to call it 850 for the MDA. That's because we're doing a localizer. The glide slope is out of service. So we've got that set. And Victory 1, turn left, heading 360. Left turn 360 for victory 1. All right, let's go ahead and pull up our box here real quick. Make sure everything is in here. We've got... there's Anvil. There's the start of the approach. Anvil, SODO. And then if we have to go missed, it's straight out. Tebney, Milt, and then hold right turns that's in the box. We're actually going to go out to the hold, and we're going to do the hold. So, aircraft, the box is loaded. What I want to do now is I want to extend a line off of Anvil. I still have some excess departure procedure stuff in here from the from the SID. We're going to clean that up. So remember, we go to direct function. We're going to take it off Anvil. The inbound course is 164. So we flip that around. That's 344, 345. Looks good. Insert that and make sure you reselect heading. So now let's zoom out our ND and we can see we have a nice straight line back in towards Anvil. Our glide slope is going to be inoperative, so we're going to go ahead and turn glide slope mode off up here on the overhead. We're going to be doing a flaps full landing. No need to push the flaps 3. And we are pretty much ready to go now. Descending 5,000, VFE next minus 10. Let's go flaps 1. Andre Bedonksy. So now I can get back to some of that chat for you guys. I apologize. I was really kind of just focused on the aircraft there, but now I'll get back to communicating with you guys. So Andre says, V1, does any 320 series have a good option for the AOE angle of attack or AOE indicator? You mean AOA? I have not seen one. I haven't seen any Airbus with an AOA indicator. Now, that's not to say that that's not an option for some carriers, but I have not seen an Airbus with an AOA indexer or anything like that. No. Dougal says, do I have a time scale on the release for the V2 vid? Dougal, I'm really going to say I hope before Christmas. Before Christmas. That's my goal. All my spare time right now is just kind of going into studying in the books. You know, I'm looking at all my limitations and memory items and things like that. Alright, so we're set up now. Let's come left 10 degrees, so we're parallel to our course, 340. And we're going to descend to 4,000 feet. It's going to maintain 4,000. So, let's brief this approach up here for a little bit. Alright, we're set up for the ILS Localizer, which is going to be a localizer only, to 16 center. Final approach course will be 164 degrees. That's indicated right here on the PFD. SODO, our final approach fixed at 1900. The MDA for us is 850. That's in the barrow. It's depicted here on the PFD. Touchdown zone for 16 center is 430 feet. The sector altitude, the highest being out to the east of 6,400 feet. We want to make sure we stay clear of that, or we're above that if we head out there to the east. We're looking for Pappies on the left. ALSIF 2 lighting. If we have to go missed, the missed approach procedure is as follows. We're going to continue straight at or below 2,000 feet. So we're going to set 2,000 feet here in the window. At or below 2,000 feet, on a heading of 160 to intercept the Seattle 161 radial to Tebney intersection and hold. Once we reach Tebney intersection and hold, it's going to be right turns. That's in the box, matches the plate. Landing on runway 16 center. Be a left-hand turn-off one runway to hold short of. Make sure we don't cross that without clearance. We're in an Airbus A320 for tail strike avoidance. Localizer's push button is set. Glide slope is inoperative, so we have the glide slope mode off on the EgyptWiz panel up here. We're going to go flaps full, manual brakes, and manual reverse thrust, or reverse as required. Any questions? No questions. All right, so we want to make sure we cross Anvil. I'm sorry, SODO is our final approach fix. We want to make sure we cross SODO at or above 1,900 feet. I'm going to be using track FPA. And we want to start down, let's see, if we're at 4,000 feet, so we're going to do quick math. SODO's at 1,900. We're at 4,000. That's, what, 2,000 feet to lose, 2,100 feet. Times that by 3. That's 6.3. Right, 6.3 miles from SODO. We should start down. We're going to add 0.5, which would be 6.8. So we're at about 6.8 miles from SODO intersection. I'm going to start down at a 3-degree glide path to cross SODO at or above 1900, and then continue down on the low. Let's go ahead and change the weather a little bit. Let's go ahead and do IFR Cat 1 conditions. And let's see what happens here. Victory 1, turn left, heading 320. 320. So when will you do the steep turn maneuver? V1 Tech asks, it's basically during any recurrent check ride, you're going to be asked to go demonstrate steep turns. Now, you wouldn't be doing it in the real aircraft, hopefully, ever. But it's to demonstrate your knowledge of the fly-by-wire modeling and how the systems are all kind of linked together and where their limitations are. But you do it during your check ride and your recurrent training. Andre says, yeah, there is I believe the 7.3s have the AOA indexer by default, don't they? Even the NGs do. Alright, so what I want to do here, I'm going to go progress page. I'm going to type in SODOE, S-O-D-O-E. Oops, I missed an O. Alright, we're 9.9 from SODO. We're at 4,000 feet. I'm going to reduce speed. 180. AOA is getting high there. Alright, so we are going to do this to a missed approach. There is VFNX minus 10, flaps 2. Salem High School Volleyball says Airbus don't have AOA indexers because in normal law the aircraft will not stall. That is incorrect. The aircraft can stall in normal law. In alternate law, something is messed up with your sensors anyway and the information is unreliable. So Salem High School Volleyball, Airbus actually came out and it's in their books now that the aircraft can stall in any configuration, in any law, at any time. So as pilots, you have to be aware. You can't just say, oh, we're in normal law, it's not possible to stall. That's how Air France 447 crashed. You can't have that mentality. You're in an airplane, things happen, the aircraft can stall in normal law. And there is, I'm going to be doing a little something special for you guys next week. We're going to talk about that later in enhanced envelope training. So, but the aircraft can stall. It is possible to stall it in normal law. It shouldn't in normal conditions, but it is possible. Victory 1, turn left, heading 280. I need Phantom 320 on here to be my ATC. Alright, what's our distance from SODO? Right now we're 12 miles from SODO. We're at 4,000 feet. What did I say? 7 miles. We were going to start down at a 3-degree glide path. Jump and Run says the approach in a Blutham requires a steep turn. AOA index for 7.3 is a customer option. It is a customer option. Interesting. Alright, Victory 1, turn left, heading 220, intercept the localizer, maintain forward till established, cleared localizer, 16 center approach. Alright, we are cleared loc approach. Loc is blue. Coming left to 230. We're at flaps 2, 180 knots. We're 12.6 miles from SODO. I'm going to go ahead and pull the bird up right now. So we are in track, loc. And I'm going to go ahead and set 1900. So now this is where you can get in trouble. I'm setting 1900 because SODO is at 1900. But I'm going to be starting my descent down out here, right? And what will happen is if I'm not careful, as I approach SODO, the aircraft will level off at 1900 because that's what I have set in the box. And if it levels off and the thrust comes up, guess what happens to the rest of your approach? You get very high and you're not able to maintain a constant descent and you end up unstable and bad things happen. So what you have to remember to do is as you're coming down and getting close to 1900, we just say spin that up out of the way, just spin it up to something random just to get it out of the way so the aircraft won't level. And then we go ahead and set missed approach altitude once we go ahead and pass the final. So that's a little gotcha there if you're not careful. All right, Loc Star. We're at 10.5 from Soto. And we're going to do 3 degrees down. So remember I showed you guys this trick in the, oops. We're going to use the FPA right here. This is flight path angle. I'm going to set FPA of 3 degrees. Sam Kenneth says when the Airbus first came out, I believe people were saying it couldn't stall or it couldn't tail strike. Yeah, it didn't take long for a pilot tail strike. Yeah, the Airbus definitely can tail strike. You can even tail strike at 320 if you're not careful. So you could pretty much tail strike any airplane. To say that you can't tail strike an airplane is not really smart. I do find it a little strange, though, that the 321s don't really have any tail strike skids or anything like that. You know, you see the 900, 73900 has those little tail things. All right, here we go. We're at 7.5 from Soto. I'm going to set FPA 3 degrees. Oh, it just went out on me. You got to be careful of that. It has a time limit. Oh, boy. Always happens, just like in the Checkride, too. Right when you want to pull it. Boom. 3 degrees. We're starting down. 6.7 from Soto. Now you can use plus or minus 1 degree. So I can use up to -4 FPA or -2 FPA. All right, Soto at 1900, Anvil at or above 3200. That's another one you got to be careful of. Here's Anvil at 1.5, so we got to make sure we don't bust Anvil or Soto. And I can tell already I'm going to be a little bit high, so I'm going to increase this to 3.5 or 3.5 just for a minute. Because I can already tell the aircraft's a little bit high. Our touchdown zone for 1600 is 430 feet. So at 2500 MSL, that's our 2,000 foot window we're going to use for gear down and manage speed. Also want to make sure we did activate and confirm. Yes, we did. 3.7 from Soto. There's Anvil. We just crossed Anvil at 3,200 feet. Perfect. We're still coming down. I like to keep this vertical deviation donut right here in the box. Just on the upper side of that little yellow. So I'm still coming down. As you configure the airplane, it will have a tendency to balloon, so I may even bump it to -4 momentarily to counteract that little bit of float that you get by increasing flaps full.
2,500.
All right, we're not going to listen to this because the aircraft is it's hilly terrain out here. So we know 2,500 on our MSL altitude is our 2,000 feet above touchdown. All right, we're approaching Soto. I'm going to go ahead and spin this up out of the way so it doesn't capture. And I'm going to increase this to 4. All right, there's our 2,000 feet above ground level. Cancel that. Gears coming down. Here is Soto at... Shrink you out of the way a little bit. There's Soto right now. Soto, 1900. Checks. Perfect. Okay, let's go ahead and flaps 3. And I'm going to go ahead and start walking this up just a tad. Because you don't want to get low. I'm going to hold 3.5. Flaps full. See how the aircraft wants to balloon? That's true to real life too. Even though you have fly-by-wire, it does want to do a little bit of balloon action. Alright, so now the aircraft is stable. We're going to take this one all the way down. We're going to go missed. RobertB is 850 feet. Spoilers arm. We'll run a landing checklist. Cabin crew advised. Auto thrust. Speed. ECAM memo. Landing. All green. Cabin blue.
1,000.
Alright. I'm going to go ahead and go right back to 3 degrees now. The aircraft has stabilized itself. tad bit low there.
Above. 500.
And minimums. Airport not in sight. Go around. Go around flaps. Positive rate. Gear up. Mantoga, SRS, go around track. Oh, we almost had a boo-boo. Set 2000. See that? That's almost got you there. We got to add or below. There's outstar. I'm going to go ahead and reduce to climb because I don't want to blow through that. I'm going to go ahead and turn all thrust off. It's acting awful strange to me right now. Let's go right back into lever climb. There we go. Yeah. Right, start retracting on speed. Auto thrust limited. I don't know what happened there. Why is she not... It keeps popping out of that climb detent. Flaps 1. Level at 2,000 feet on the mist. Flap 0. Victor run, climb and maintain 4,000 feet. And the airport is flipped around now. We're going to do the RNAV 3-4 center. Advise 1 ready. Alright, so we're going to set up for the RNAV 3-4 center. I'm going to go ahead and select speed. 220 knots. Climbing to 4,000 feet. And we can do an after takeoff checklist. Make sure that everything is kosher now. Landing gear is up. Flaps retracted 0. Bleeds and packs are set. APU is off. And I'll go ahead and turn off glide slope mode as well. We'll go ahead and kill these lights on the go around. Alright, speed alt star. Victor 1 report entering the hold over Milt. Roger, report entering the hold over Milt. So you can see that go around is pretty quick. Oh, what's going on here? Well, that's just flight factor things. I guess I had a speed breakout. That could be why it was a little weird there on that go around. That's the hard part, trying to do this in the sim single pilot, because there's so much stuff. It's become so high workload so fast that doing it single pilot is pretty hardcore. And me trying to stream with you guys, I'm not trying to ignore you, but you can see the workload gets extremely intense really rapidly. Alright, so here we go. We're looking at Milt now. We're going to enter the hold. I'm going to let Flight Factor enter the hold. I want to see what it'll do here. And then we'll load up the RNAV to 3-4 center approach. And this will be a hand-flown approach. So we're going to load up the RNAV 3-4 center. Let's see it enter the hold here first. Get back to some of this chat here while we watch her enter the hold. Carl says, Skipper, I just did a flight from Boston to EDDM in the JAR 330. The latest updates to that just made it worth flying again. Basically unflyable for a long time. Wow, so I haven't touched it since the last stream I did with it. I might have to look at it again. You know, I want so badly the JAR to be good. I really do. But I've just had so many issues with it. We'll go ahead and turn our LS push buttons off. I've had so many issues with the JAR. It just makes me not want to fly it. But I want it to be a good airplane. It's the only wide body we have. Kimchi, late to the show, but just wanted to say hello from Frisco, Texas. Hello, Kimchi. We'll be heading out to Costco down there in Frisco here in not too long. Yay Gaming says, I need to learn how to fly the Airbus. Well, it's the right channel, my friend. Hope you can pick something up from today's stream. I know it's not super interactive to me in the chat right now because I'm trying to demonstrate a lot of things for you guys, but I'm glad to have you all here with me. Andre says, maybe noise in the thrust levers. Flight factor birds have problems with this. Yeah, definitely the 7.6 I have issues. I don't know maybe if it's becoming a hardware issue with me or not. Why are we in go around track? You should have went into nav mode. Nav. Alright, it's entering the hold. I don't know if that's if that was on me. I don't know if that's, I don't know. I'm pretty sure going around like that, it should go into nav mode. Maybe not. I think I forgot because we were on a localizer approach. We weren't on an RNAV. So, live and die by the FMA, right? I saw this said go around track. It should say nav mode. At Victory 1, we're entering the hold over Milt 4000. Victory 1, roger, advise ready for approach into, whatchamacallit, 3-4 center. So I have the RNAV set up here. So let's try this. I'm going to see if the flight factor does this right. I'm going to load up the 3-4 center. I wonder if it's going to clear the hold out. The real airplane will allow you to load up the approach and it won't clear out the hold. So let's see if it works. It may clear out the hold and then we'll just have to do it manually. But we're going to do RNAV 3-4 center, RNAV Yankee, 3-4 center, no approach vias, insert. No, we're still holding. That's good. All right, let's go ahead and take a look then. Let's go into plan mode. So here is our hold. Here's our hold. There's Lori, Oddbow, Tiffy's, Reba. Yeah, it's all in there. Perfect. And then a hold out to Magnum at 5,000. So it's in the box. It did it properly. Good job, flight factor. This IMM exit right here, this means immediate exit. So if I press this button, the aircraft will exit the hold, and I believe it will fly to the next waypoint. Or it may revert to heading mode because we have the discon in here. I'd have to test that out. But that's how you exit the hold, by pressing immediate exit. So what I want to do is I want to clean this up a little bit, though. I want to go from... Yeah, we'll go from Lori. Let's go ahead and say, what's Lori's altitude supposed to be at here? At 5,000. We're at 4,000. Perfect. Let's go immediate exit. Not allowed. Maybe because we're not established. Interesting. Interesting. What if I, let's clear this up here. 165, radial in, insert. And now it's in heading mode, so let's go direct, Lori, execute. We're in nav mode, direct Lori. Perfect. Speed out heading. Why aren't you in nav mode? Nav. Alright. We're at Lori 4000. Let's brief this approach real quick. Alright, this is going to be the RNAV to runway 34 center. We don't need our LS push buttons for this. We're going to use auto brakes low, flaps full, idle reverse. And Victory 1, you're cleared RNAV 34 center. So we'll go approach button on. Oop, this flight director should have been on. Why is this flight director not turning on? Final lap. Interesting that I can't get one FD2 up here. Alright, let's go approach. Final lap nav. We're at 4,000 feet. Vertical deviation because we're below the brick already. This looks like flight factorisms. Let's just see what happens here real quick. Let's descend to cross Tiffy's. Because Tiffy's is our final approach fix, right? 2,400. Maybe she wants lower. Let's go ahead and start. Thrust out open descent. Out final. It may not get down in time. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Alright, finish up the brief here for 3-4 center. Final approach course will be 344 inbound. Tiffy's at 2,400. The perf data... Oh, that's why. Activate confirm. There we go. The MDA for the perf data, I didn't set this up. This is the same thing, LNAV, VNAV, but this one is a DA. We're going to use 839. So we don't have to do addition on that one. Environmentals are set. Touchdown zone is 387. Sector altitude around the missed approach point is 6,400 feet. If we have to go missed, we're going to go straight out 5,000 feet to Magnum intersection and hold with left turns. I'm sorry, right turns. Let's see if that's in the box. Magnum, intersection, hold, right turns. That's in the box. We're in A320, auto brake slow, flaps full, idle reverse. Any questions? No questions. We're high on the vertical deviation here. Let's go gear down. Manage speed. Let's see if we can catch up to it. DFE next, flaps 1. We might have blown through this one, guys. I don't think... we might catch it. I'm going to spin you up out of the way. Vertical speed 2,000. I wonder if we can catch it this way. We'll try. I don't think so. How high are we? Well, it's okay. We're going to do a go around on this one anyway. We're 300 feet high. Doesn't look like it's going to happen. We're going to go around anyway, though, so it's okay. We'll do hand flown, inbound. I don't know, I can't get the flight director on anything. There we go. Final lap, so we did capture it. Flaps 3. Gotta be stable by 1,000 feet. I don't know if this will happen. It might, actually. Alright, landing checklist, cabin crew advised, auto thrust, speed. ECAM memo. Landing, all green, cabin blue. We're stable. We're about 15 knots fast, that's okay. Let's take her on down.
1,000.
Check. Alright, we're hand flying the RNAV down now. Landing check is complete, gears down, we're down to land, clear to land, lights coming on.
Glide slope.
We're not on a glide slope, so I don't know why you're yelling glide slope at me, flight factor.
Glide slope.
Interesting. No minimum call. There was minimums. Go around. Go around flaps. Positive rate. Gear up. Mantoga, SRS nav. Missed approach altitude is 5,000. Flaps 2. So that's interesting that flight factor doesn't do. I'm going to go ahead and manage up for the go around phase. Manage nav, lever climb. Yeah, I'm definitely getting noise in my throttles there. Thrust climb, nav mode. We're on the mist. Auto thrust. Flaps 1. Being a little bit weird here. I don't know what's going on with that. Thank you, flight factor. There's our alpha floor protection. So we just inadvertently went into a stall, but this is flight factor. This is not. I don't know what the heck is going on here. 4.2 for 5,000. Maybe she's a little confused after we did all that maneuvering. We're an out star. We're going to just hand fly her. It's not a problem. As long as we don't bust anything here. I'm going to level at 5,000 feet. Out. Perfect. Alright, let's go rebuild our automation. Autopilot 1. Auto thrust. Yeah, every time I engage auto thrust, it's like I have to take it out of the detent and put it back in the detent. Okay, whatever. 210 knots, 5,000 feet, manage nav. Time for a fuel check, Slam Cannon? Yeah, we're looking good. We're going to land it on this next one right here. It's getting ready. We're coming in to do our Cat 3 now. So, we're on the go around. Let's make sure the aircraft's cleaned up. Landing lights are still on, below 10. That's retracted, 0. Everything is looking good. We're back at it. One more approach. And we're getting out of here. So, Cat 3 now. We're going to let the airplane enter the hold. I have no idea what this little situation is here. This is not a proper hold entry. This is, in fact, how you bust a check ride and how you die by flying in a terrain. The protected side of the hold is over here. your entry is supposed to be on the protected side. What you do not want to do is enter a right turn at the hold entry point and go to the unprotected side. So, I don't know what's going on here. Let's just let Flight Factor do its thing. Paul Mullen, what's going on, man? Dougal's got the manhammer going on over there. All right. What did Paul ask earlier? Did I miss something? All right. Okay. Andre says the clouds top so nice to see after that low vis approach in the trees. Yeah, it did look pretty nice up there. All right, let's set up for the constraint up to lorry, deleted up to lorry. All right. We're going to set up for the ILS 16 center Cat 3 auto land. Insert U, starting from Anvil. Our perf data, we're going to go ahead and activate, confirm. We're already in selected speed. And that just exited our hold. That was a no-no, I think. That was on my fault. That's all right. We're going to vector ourselves anyway for this though. So we're going to come right 010. Maintain 4000. Speed 210. We're VFE next -10. Flaps 1. Flaps are coming out. We're going to set up for the auto land now. All right. So what we do for auto land, 16 center Cat 3. We do not have a DH. Minimum RVR is 300. You see, there is no rad out. If you're doing something else, a Cat 2 or what we call fail passive, you would have minimums that you put in there. But we're not doing that. We're doing Cat 3, or what's known as fail operational now. We're no longer doing Cat 1, Cat 2, Cat 3. That's not what it's called anymore. It's just depicted that way. But 3 ILS special aircrew and aircraft certification required. We have that. We're going to go ahead and put no in the DH. We're going to do config full. Progress page, we're going to clear that out. We're going to put Seattle 16 center. And Victory 1, come back left now. 320, vector across the localizer. And then we're going to extend ourselves a line off of Anvil. Final approach course 345, insert that. Make sure we pull heading mode. Anvil is at or above 3,200. We're descending to, why didn't we descend? I didn't pull that, there we go. Thrust throttle open, descent. Auto brakes low. LS push buttons are going to be on for this approach. Glide slope mode is on. And we'll do a quick brief, and we're going to turn inbound. We're going to make one more turn here to 270. All right, we're going to set up for the Cat 3 ILS 16 center. ISZI 111.7, that's auto-tuned here. It's depicted. Our final approach course is 164 degrees. We can see that here. SODO, 1,900 feet. There is no DH entered in the perf page for Cat 3 Autoland. Touchdown zone is 430 feet. Seattle's got some terrain around it. That means we know our 2,000 by 180 knots and flaps 2. We're going to make sure we manage up at 2,400 MSL. We have to be looking at this number, not our radio altimeter because of the sloping terrain. 2,400 MSL, we're going to configure flaps full, gear down, manage speed. Highest sector altitude is out to the east still. It's 6,400 feet. We've got terrain out there. If we become lost or disoriented, we make sure we climb above that altitude. We're looking for PAPIs on the left-hand side, ALSIF 2 lighting, if we see it. If we have to go mist, our mist approach altitude is at or below 2,000 on a heading of 160. Out to Milt after intercepting the Seattle 161 radial and hold. That's in the box, matches the plate. Landing on 16 center, be a left-hand turnoff, one moment across, make sure we hold short of that. We're in an A320 for tail strike avoidance. Auto brakes low. Flaps full, full reverse. Any questions? No questions. Victory 1. Turn left. All the way around to... let's make it 100. Actually, we'll make it 120. Intercept the localizer. 16 center. 4 to established. Alright. Here we go. We're coming around. Aircraft is set up for the auto land now. No DH is entered. Auto brakes low. Daniel Marquis says, I never understand the category minimums when I have to choose from my charts. Daniel, that's an IFR thing, or under instrument flight rules, instrument training. It can be very confusing. Essentially, the old way of doing things was using the words Cat 2 and Cat 3. In real life now in the US, we don't use this term, Cat 2 or Cat 3. But all the charts still show it. So it is extremely confusing. Don't feel bad. But essentially, Cat 3 means you have no minimums. It means you are doing an auto land approach. Cat 2 means that you have to see something visual at some point to land. Basically, that's all that means. But we're doing a Cat 3. You could see here by Cat 3, there is no minimums. It just says RVR 300 required. So we're going to set our minimums, we're going to set the visibility for, let's do a Cat 3. Boom. 500 RVR, so we should see something. Alright, no DH is set. Victory 1. Descend and maintain 3,200. Descend and maintain 3,200. Maintain 3,200 till established. Cleared. ILS 16 center approach. Alright, 3,200 till established. Cleared ILS 16 center approach. Thrust idle. Open descent. Cat 3 dual. Autopilot 1+2. We need all of this in our box. Glide slope blue, lope blue. We need all of that on our FMA. I'm going to go ahead and reduce speed to 180 as soon as we get down as well. And we're cleared approach. We're going to get that light on. I'll say Victory 1, contact tower, you're clear to land 16 center. Boom. All our lights are on. Run the checklist when we are close enough here. So that up. Daniel says, thanks for your explanation, but sometimes even a Cat 1 appears on the charts. Right, so a Cat 1 is your standard ILS. Cat 1 just means 200, typically 200 feet minimum ceiling and a half-mile visibility. That's your typical Cat 1 ILS. Cat 1 is just the standard, what GA guys fly and things like that. You cannot do a Cat 2 or Cat 3 approach unless you're trained, your aircrew is trained, and your aircraft is certified. All right, so we have Localizer star. The aircraft has intercepted the Localizer. I'm going to reduce speed to 180. All right, so now we're looking good. Anvil 3,200 feet. We're at 3,200. Speed's coming back. I haven't done an auto land in the 320 in the flight factor in a very long time, so I'll be curious to see how well it does. We're approaching VFE next to -10, flaps 2. Oh yeah. Remember, 2,400 foot MSL is our 2,000 foot window for configuring for landing. Let me get these screens set up here. Now, one thing you got to take note is on an auto land, once you land on the runway, you have to disengage the autopilot, because if you don't disengage the autopilot and you try to turn off the runway with the tiller, if you let go, the nose of the airplane is going to jerk right back to the center, try to get on that localizer, end up in the dirt. All right, there's glide slope star. We're going to set our go-around altitude, 2,000 feet. Initial. This is where it really starts getting quiet. You're the flight crew. Because hey, we're going to be landing without seeing anything. Hamza says, hello guys, I'm still wondering which Airbus is better, Aerosoft or Sim Labs? Do you mean Flight Sim Labs? Man, I hope that's a joke, my friend. Flight Sim Labs, all the way, dude. Dimitri says, V1, can you clarify when and how you choose when X, Y, Z, ILS is shown on the charts? Always use Zulu for no particular reason. That's going to be broadcast in the ATIS. There's a couple of different reasons why you'll have an X or an X-ray Yankee or Zulu approach. Some of it can do with the missed approach. I know Philadelphia has a missed approach procedure. Oop, there's 2,400 feet. Manage speed, gear down. Philadelphia has a missed approach procedure that is dependent upon if they're using an intersecting runway or not. So they have a Yankee and Zulu ILS. If they're using the intersecting, it's Yankee, and if they're not, it's a Zulu. And then I forget what X-ray means, but it will be clarified in the ATIS in real life which one they're using. VFE next minus 10 flaps 3. I'll try to get into more detail on that later. I think you asked that on for the V1 After Dark too, but right, there was a Soto 1900 checks. VFE next minus 10 flaps full. Landing checklist. Cabin crew advised. Auto thrust speed. ECAM memo. Landing all green. We're coming back. We're gonna just let her do her thing now. Is it normal that you hit the loc before the final approach button? No, you only hit the loc button if you're told to intercept the localizer. That's the only reason we'd hit the loc button. If you're clear at approach, you just hit the approach push button. The localizer will only do lateral deviation for you. Sometimes they say just intercept the localizer. Then you would use that. But if they say, hey, you're cleared approach, you just press the approach push button. There's no reason to press just loc. Alright, here comes 1300. 1000 stable.
1000.
Check. This is where it starts to get a little hairy. We're looking for a land green on the enunciator here. This is the only time we will enunciate land green. And then we want to see flare. And if any of those, if flare doesn't come up or land green doesn't come up, it's an automatic go around. Or if we get our auto land light, there's an auto land light that I'm hiding
500.
over here, I think, or here. If that illuminates, it's an automatic go around as well.
400.
Starting to see trees off the left. That's always a little bit sketchy. Land green.
300. 200. 100.
In real life, you wouldn't even see this.
50. 40.
Flare.
30. 20.
Thrust idle.
10. Retard. Retard 5.
Spoilers. We're in rollout. Reverse green. Pretty nice job. Look at that. 51 feet above threshold. 1 foot per minute. Or, I'm sorry, 1 foot off of center line. 70 knots. Reverse comes out. Remember now, disengage the autopilot. Let me see if it does it. If I push to the left with the pedal, let's see if it comes back. Yep, you see how it wants to come back to center line? That's accurate. Oh, now it tripped off. All right. Let's say we get an emergency call right now from the cabin crew. Hey, cabin, we got a fire back here in the aft galley and it's getting out of control. Like, okay, thank you. Stand by. Set the parking brake. Tower Victory 1, we got to evacuate on the runway of an engine fire. And if we, or not an engine fire, whatever it is, whatever kind of situation they throw at you on the check ride. So we need to evacuate the aircraft. So now we go ahead and run a evacuation checklist. Aircraft parking brake, stop on. Crew PA, flight attendant stations. So that's when I would come down here and I'd press this PA push button. Flight attendant stations.
Gentlemen, the captain and crew would like to
What?
welcome you on board this.
No, I wouldn't. Shut up. Interesting. So I press that PA push button there, saying flight attendant stations. That gets the flight attendants ready for something to happen. ATC notify. Tower Victory 1, we're evacuating on the runway 16 center. We need emergency vehicle assistance. All right, cabin pressure. Only if it's been used manually, which it hasn't. So let me go ahead and clear the status page out. We would make sure that our cabin pressure was below a certain amount, but we didn't use manual cabin pressure mode. Engine master 1 and 2 comes off. Fire push buttons, engine and APU. Engine and APU. Agents, engine and APU, discharge if necessary. So I'm going to go ahead and do it just because I've never done it before on the flight factor. Let's see. Let's go ahead and blow both bottles. Agent 1 and 2, discharge. If evacuation is required, evacuate, evacuate, evacuate. So then I would come back down here, press this button, evacuate, 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 and the evac command push button we would press, which is up here on the overhead. Right there. Evacuate, evacuate, evacuate. And then the aircraft, we would evacuate. Doors would open up, slides would open up, and we would be evacuating. Evacuation checklist complete. Let's get the heck out of here. Wow, that is loud and annoying. So, man, as far as firing the cabin, we would like to welcome you on board. Oh, man, I know, that was pretty funny. Well, guys, that was kind of a really busy stream. I hope wasn't too boring for you guys. I wasn't too interactive with the chat there, but I just wanted to get a couple things, you know, out there for you guys to see, a couple different flight envelope stuff and do some approaches. I know you guys have been asking for missed approaches for quite a while, so hopefully that will take care of that. Let's see what happens if I try to do a replay after doing the evacuation. Everything seems to be working. We'll go ahead and we'll go over here in this view right here and catch up with some of these chat messages here. But hey, man. Dougal says, learning so much here. Thank you, sir. Dougal, thank you, my friend. I'm glad you enjoyed the stream. I know it wasn't super, like I said, super interactive with the chat with you guys, but we got to show a couple different things here in the Airbus. I'm going to be doing, hopefully, some more single engine stuff for you guys on Friday. If I can get it working properly, we're going to do a V1 cut, which is where the channel got its name. V1 is your decision speed if you're going to be going for takeoff or if you're going to be rejecting. So we're going to try to do the V1 cut. Hopefully that is simulated properly on Friday. We'll probably do some single engine ILS approach, hand-flown single engine approach. I want to do a terrain reaction that we have to do if you ever get a terrain, pull up, what the automatic action is for the flight crew. And then Saturday, we're going to tie it all together. It's going to be a members-only chat, and I'm basically probably won't be too interactive with the chat, but I'm basically going to treat it as a practice check ride for myself, and we're going to run through everything. We'll tie it together. We'll take off. I'll do the maneuvers. Hopefully they're 2 standards. We'll do a few stalls, come back around, do 3 approaches, and call it a day. So I'm going to be getting out of here pretty soon, guys. I'm going to be going off to Costco if you're in the United States. I hope you guys have a wonderful Thanksgiving. My buddy Kim Shi out there in Frisco. I'll be headed your way, man. I gotta get some stuff for the Thanksgiving dinner tomorrow. But I appreciate you guys hanging out and chatting with me today. I hope you guys really enjoyed seeing some different things in the live stream. But I will catch you guys on Friday at 12 noon local UTC. I think what am I, -5 right now? So it's already set up on the YouTube channel. Just check it out, so remind if you want to get it. Romulus says this was a great stream. Learned a lot today. Thank you. Thank you. Voitek says thanks. It was great. So really appreciate it, guys. I hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving here in the States. If you're not having a Thanksgiving, if you don't celebrate Thanksgiving, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week. And I will catch you all on Friday. See ya.